right, hey everybody, it's Peter from the Kia Hyundai channel. Welcome to our live video series. This one is going to be a little bit different. As you can see, the location's different. I'll explain that to you in a second. But in this video, I put out a thing this morning on my Instagram, and I said, should we do general podcast style discussion, or should we do a typical video like normal? And 68% of you, if I can get this turned around, voted to do the podcast style discussion. So that's what we're going to do today. And like I said, I'm in a different location, but if you're just joining us for the very first time, we always film these videos live, usually from a different location. Usually I go through a car in a lot of detail. But we are live, and if you're not watching live with us, you can skip ahead to the 3-minute mark, which is where you will see the content of this video. And I think we're going to answer some of your questions. A lot of these are frequently asked questions, and some other stuff is just stuff that I should tell you about so that you're ready to order cars, to understand what's coming up and see what's going on. And so he says, Peter at home, weird. All right, so here's the way it's going to work. If you're staying with us, you can skip. If you're not live with us, you can skip the 3-minute mark. In the meantime, some news, some notes. First of all, let's just cover why I am here. I'm just going to refresh this page. I'm not feeling 100% right now, and so I may have a different voice, a little bit of nasal congestion, so I've got some Kleenexes. I may cough a tiny bit. So it's not the thing you guys all think it is. We've tested, it's not that. But just out of an abundance of caution, I'm staying away for today and hoping that my symptoms feel a little bit better for tomorrow. I've also not talked to anybody all day, which has been helpful for me. All right, so what we're doing today is mainly questions that you guys have asked me with some other stuff going on. We will talk about a lot of questions you've asked, and throughout this whole video, you guys can ask questions. We'll do it interactively. Bear with me as I just get into the page that I need to be in to see what you guys are asking me. I'm watching an ad right now, so we're going to wait till I can skip that ad. There we go. I can see the chat. All right, a bunch of you are on here. That's perfect. So yeah, I feel okay. Could use some sleep, which I'll get, but bigger thing is just with any kind of symptoms, we're just being a little extra cautious, and of course, no real issue. So, almost at that 3-minute mark. Where are we at now? Does it tell me here? This is a different setup than I normally have. Yeah, okay, so 45 seconds to go. All right, so what are we talking about today? Or what should I talk about in the meantime? See, a lot of this news and notes section is actually going to come up throughout the video a little bit later. I will say, if you're a regular with us, do me a favor, hit the like button for us. We're a little behind. You got a bunch of people on, 22 or so people on, only 4 likes. We should usually match that out as we get to that 3-minute mark. So if you're a regular, hit that. If you're not a regular, I'm willing to earn your like throughout this video. And we'll stay on for 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever seems to work out. Normally we do about a half an hour to 40 minutes, but we'll see how things go today. So, and I do apologize if I have to sneeze a little bit. This is the way it's going to work today. All right, 5 seconds to go, so let's get going. All right, here we go. Hey everybody, it's Peter from the Kia Hyundai channel. I'm in my home office, shall we call it, for today, just doing a little bit of different type of video. So this video is going to be about your questions answered. And the first topic we're going to talk about is, first of all, let's just tell you what this video is about. EV6 ordering process, Santa Cruz, wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. Why isn't it on the tiny screen? What are we doing to follow up? UVO Intelligence and BlueLink, advanced driver assistance systems, cars are like cell phones. We're going to talk a little bit about that and more. So we'll start off with, I think, the big topics first, and we'll go from there. The EV6. Now, we are, of course, filming in Canada. If you are wanting to order that car, it's my understanding that you can do that as early as this month. Now, there's a couple catches with ordering that car. You're going to have to do it from the Kia Canada website. You'll leave a deposit there. I'm not sure of the exact process right now. You will get to choose your dealer. And I'm going to be blunt. If you are in Ontario, choose Brantford Kia. You can choose anybody you want. You can choose all the other EV dealers. You may not find your local dealer on that list because it's EV dealers only. I can tell you that we are following this car as closely as anyone. We were one of the leading dealers for when the Kia Niro was first launched, and we want to be one of the leading dealers when the EV6 launches. Not selfishly, although let's be honest, there's no way of hiding it. Of course we have a selfish interest in this. But I find that when I talk to people, our customers are best served by us. When you have questions about your EV6, sometimes you run into a salesperson that maybe doesn't know it the same way that we do, maybe hasn't done the research that we have. And I'm not saying that any other dealer is a bad choice. By all means, choose a dealer that is a good choice for you. But out of all cars, those EVs are sometimes a little different, a little more complicated. And when you buy from us, it just allows us to give you a little bit extra. And I want to make sure you have a great ownership experience. And it's just easier if you buy from us. You'll get direct contact with me. We'll be able to help you out. So the EV6 is coming out this month. Kia Canada website, they're gonna sell out. So I'll keep you updated on our channel here, but they are gonna sell out that initial shipment. And like I said, when you choose a dealer, if you're in Ontario, choose us. We'll get the car to you. Even if you're not local, we can trailer the car to you. We'll make it work out. So there's a little bit of an ad. There are 3 dealers that support us, and I should just point that out. Brantford Kia, Brantford Hyundai, Owen Sound Hyundai. If you're buying an Ioniq 5, by all means, work with Brantford Hyundai and Owen Sound Hyundai as well, because again, they're tied in with what we do here. We do a lot of research on these cars. It's not just another vehicle for us. These are special cars that we understand take a little bit of extra special knowledge, especially as a lot of you are transitioning to an EV maybe for the first time. So that's what's going on there. So EV6 ordering through the Kia Canada website. You can choose your dealer. And like I said, if you can choose Brantford Kia, I think we can help you out with that. All right, got some questions in here. We're going to get to them in a second. Let me just see. Yeah. Somebody asked me on my Instagram earlier if the Teddy's going to be with me. Teddy's not coming with me. So, all right, I want to talk about the Santa Cruz versus the Maverick, because these are some of these frequently asked questions. And there's a lot going on with the new Maverick. You're just going to see the Maverick videos being released. It's a cool truck. Let's be honest. It's Ford's truck. And the biggest thing that I'm seeing repeatedly is, it's priced under the Santa Cruz, and especially in Canada. We are filming in Canada, so I want to address that a little bit. I think Ford did a fantastic job bringing out the Maverick. I think it's what a lot of truck buyers want. A low-cost, bare-bones truck. In some cases, you're starting with a key, you don't even get cruise control, you get steely wheels. That's an available option for you. It's not going to be available in the Hyundai lineup. I think the difference is when you have 2 sedans, let's say there's a BMW and a Porsche, or let's say there's a regular brand and a high-end brand. Nobody ever says, well, this one costs more. Yeah, of course it costs more. It's got more equipment. And that's really what I think we should point out with the Santa Cruz. For Ford to be successful, they had to price a vehicle underneath their Ranger, and they equipped it accordingly. It's a little more plasticky inside than the Santa Cruz. It's definitely more truck style than the Santa Cruz. It doesn't have that trunk bed, which I think is a big deal. I think it's a bigger deal than people think. So I think it's cool, but I want you to keep in mind, if you're shopping for the Santa Cruz versus the Maverick, the Santa Cruz is the luxury car of the bunch. It's much, much nicer inside. It has much better technology, in my opinion. And I think you get a lot of value for your money. And frankly, the styling doesn't have to look like a truck. And the one thing I wish Hyundai had done is just call it a truck. I know why they're calling it the sports adventure vehicle, and that's great. But if they had called it a truck, then I think we could just address it for what it is. It is a new kind of truck for a new kind of truck buyer. Whereas I think what Ford's doing is bringing in a new version of truck for a traditional truck buyer. So I'm excited that there's a class of vehicles here. I'm not at all concerned about the Maverick outselling the Santa Cruz. It will. I don't think that makes Santa Cruz a failure. A lot of people are saying, the Santa Cruz is going to fail because the Maverick's going to outsell it. First of all, there's a lot more Ford dealers than Maverick dealers or Hyundai dealers. Ford dealers than Santa Cruz, Hyundai dealers. But also, this is a niche vehicle for Hyundai, and it's a way for them to sell a platform. So this is a bonus thing for them, whereas Ford really needs to compete and sell well, and I think they will. And I think that there's a class of vehicle like this is great, and I like that there's some variety. And I will try to do a comparison between these two, because I think you'll see there are some pretty cool reasons to own a Santa Cruz, even if it's going to cost a little bit more, and especially in Canada, it's going to cost a little bit more. All right, are you open for questions on the Kia Carnival? You can ask me any questions you want. I'll go through them as best I can. I do want to talk about a couple little things here. The pricing of the Santa Cruz. That's one thing I just meant to touch on. The pricing of the Santa Cruz is very much in line with the Santa Fe and Sorento, which it shares an engine and transmission with and a lot of technology. So although it's different than the Maverick, I think you're going to find sitting in one and sitting in the other, it definitely is a different class of vehicle, and that's explaining the price difference. And we'll continue to talk about the Santa Fe, of course, or Santa Cruz, of course. And I'd like to compare it against the Ford new Maverick. All right, so that gets that out of the way. What are we going to talk about? Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay. I'll talk about Eevee intelligence, driver assistance systems, cars are like cell phones. Why don't we take some of your questions here just so we can jump into that? Am I going to take any questions at the Carnival? Go ahead and ask them. How long is the wait time for a K5 GT line? I do know that there are some K5s coming. They're not in high volume yet. So we just got information, I believe, yesterday. The name, I don't know, the number 70 rings a bell for 70 coming to the Canadian dealers in the near future. I don't have full context offhand, but they are coming. We have some on order we have some on order at our dealerships. They will be coming, and there we go. Are you aware of any production shutdown for Carnival that would delay delivery for those vehicles that are already allocated with an ETA? Currently with the Carnival, let's just talk about the general car industry right now. In many classes of vehicles, if you want a vehicle, you're going to have to order the vehicle. If you are in a lease right now, and let's say you have 4 months, 6 months, 8 months left on your lease, you may want to speak with your dealer about getting out of that lease because you may be ordering a vehicle today to have it ready for when your lease comes in. And of course, if it comes in a little early, a dealer like ourselves would work with you. But just things like that. So ordering overall is a very complicated process. The Carnival has been a victim of a couple things. Obviously, there's the chip shortage, there's the automotive supply chain things going on that are tough. The Carnival specifically is a victim of its own success. It has been extremely successful. Kia Canada has we basically sold out of the Kia Canada allocation almost instantly. I don't know how many weeks or whatever it is. So the Carnival went on a spot where they actually can't place an order for a Carnival right now. We're just getting caught up. We know we've had more Carnivals allocated to us than originally was planned for Canada. But as of this moment, a dealer can't place an order for a Carnival. That doesn't mean you shouldn't buy one because you should get in line if you want one. Ordering times are tough to figure out. And I think one thing I want to be very careful about is we've been very good at our dealers with being very upfront. And we hear people say, oh yeah, you're going to get your vehicle of choice in 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and only to find out that 4 weeks and 6 weeks pass and they, oh, well, now we get an update. If a salesperson is placing an order and they don't have a VIN number, they do not know when that car is coming, and they have no advantage over any other dealer. So if one person says a Carnival is going to come in 4 weeks and the other person says it's going to be 4 months, they're both guessing at that point until they have an actual VIN number, and you'll get it at the same time either way. So my advice is deal with someone who's being honest with you. They don't know the exact timing of these vehicles until they have a VIN number. Once they have a VIN number, it heads into production. Once it heads into production, goes through the shipping, lands at a compound, comes to the dealer, and it comes to you. So we can give you estimates, but if some people are stretching it shorter just to get that sale, oh yeah, we'll get it in a month, we'll get it in 2 months. If you don't have a VIN number attached to that promise, it's not really a promise. So be aware of that. That one's interesting. Here's a juicy one for you. What is your favorite kind of Kia or Hyundai vehicle? I'm going to do a video on that soon. So why don't we leave that? Maybe I'll answer that a little bit later, but I'm going to do a video on that. Any idea you can get a black and glass roof on the Tucson N line? It says not officially, but what? So you're from Europe. Okay, so Europe is going to be different than Canada. I think the N line has the glass roof in the package in Canada. Europe may be different, so that's not something I know for sure. Okay, where are we going? There was a question I missed here as well. Okay, order a Carnival in July. Okay, so some of these Carnival orders, yeah, you will have VINs assigned soon. They are increasing those things, especially on those high-end, those SX ones here. All right. Okay, Peter has a Pinterest-worthy home. That has nothing to do with me. Okay, EV6 price range and how it compares to the Tesla Model Y, except in regards to pricing, seating capacity, features, exactly. So EV6, I don't actually have official information for Canada yet. So another reason, and you know, it's another reason to subscribe to this channel. The second I have that, I'm going to make a video. You're going to see it, you're going to be notified about it. And that's when I'll be able to give you real information. The Ioniq 5 was delayed a little bit, so I think these vehicles could be coming around the same time now, potentially. So EV6, they have just held off that both pricing and full options in the Canadian packages. And excuse me. So stay tuned because it should be coming very, very soon to me. The second it does, we're going to do a video and we'll get that up there. All right, we're going to move on to wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, and then I'll go back to your questions. So if I missed it, don't be offended. I will take it. Somebody wants a garage tour. If we get 1,000 likes while I'm live on this video, I will do a full house tour, garage tour, whatever you want to see. There's a lot of Lego on the floor of this house right now. All right, so let's talk about the wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. If you get an 8-inch screen in, I think, every Kia and Hyundai product right now, I think, 2022 models, if I remember correctly, the 8-inch screen will, for 2022, have wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. If you get the 10.25-inch screen, or in the case of a Carnival, the 12.3-inch screen, basically the larger widescreen, you will not get wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. You guys have asked me why, and it's a great question. It doesn't make sense to me. So let me give you the full context of what I know and what I think. When the K5, Kia K5 came out, There's dealer training. It was done much like you and I are talking right now as an online system. And one of the head office people, I asked him specifically, I said, so hold on a second here. The big screen doesn't get it, but the small screen does. Yes, that's true. And I said, okay, so what happened? So he said at that point, when I clarified and got questions, he told me that the K5, specifically the K5, would receive a future software update so that all K5s would eventually have wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay. That's what was told to me. That's what I repeated. You may see some videos of me saying that very early on. Since that time, I haven't been able to get anybody from Kia or Hyundai to confirm that. It's possible that person was misinformed, mistaken, whatever it is. But that's where this confusion is now coming from. We're several months beyond when the K5 was first introduced. And actually we're a full model year now. And obviously there's been no change. I have asked at the highest levels of Kia, I will certainly ask at Hyundai levels as well, what's the story? And there's a couple questions. One, will vehicles that, like for instance the K5, will vehicles being sold that when there was a lower trim option to have it, will those same higher trim options get it? That's the first question. In other words, will the 10 1/4 screens get it where there was a lower option to have it? The second question becomes, if the 10 1/4 screen is a software update away, if that's what the issue is, how many of these 10 1/4 screens can be updated? Something like the Telluride, the Palisade, they've had 10 1/4 screens for a while. Will they get that upgrade as well? That's the second question that I would ask. And of course, the third question I would ask is a vehicle like my 2020 Kia Soul EV has a 10 1/4 screen. We didn't have Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay when I bought my car, but how many of these 10 1/4 screens could be updated if in fact they can be updated? So if you buy a car today and it has a 10 1/4 screen, I would assume that whatever level of CarPlay you have, in other words, if it's wired, that's what you're getting. That being said, I'm chasing them, trying to follow up, and it's taken a long time. They know that I'm asking this question, so there's a reason they haven't shared the information. Technically, it's a Wi-Fi connection, and our cars for many years now have had sort of an inactive Wi-Fi system in them. So if that's the only system, in theory, in my mind, it should be able to be backdated to several older cars. I don't know that they'll do that, but certainly these 10 1/4 screens, we'd like to see, you'd like to see it. I have asked, I am chasing it, and we'll try to find that out. All right. Yeah, so there will not be an update for 10 1/4 screens. I don't know that. The short answer is, I don't know if there will or there won't. They haven't said no. They haven't said, well, at one point they said yes, but I'm not sure anymore. I was told my dealership, the small screen doesn't have navigation, so the bigger screen has navigation on it. Yeah, that's a nice line that salespeople use. Oh, don't worry. The small screen, you have wireless Android Auto. The large screen has the factory navigation. That's great, but sometimes we want wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay for other reasons. I think people have tried to sell it in many which ways, and the reality is we don't know and we should know. Okay, yeah, so you guys are asking for that. Let's just go a couple more things. Eevee Intelligence and BlueLink. This is a system that I did a video on 3 years ago on Eevee Intelligence specifically. Eevee Intelligence and BlueLink are the same system. They are cell phone-based systems that can control your car to some level. There will be upgrades in this system. There has been upgrades in the system. Within the next 6 weeks or so, I will do a video on both or one. A lot of it's going to be compatible to other things, but I'll probably do an Eevee and a Hyundai. I've got access to both vehicles. I'll probably just use my own personal car for the Eevee. So I will be doing a video on the Eevee Intelligence and BlueLink system because you guys have asked a lot for it. It's hard for me at a dealer level to do it because if I don't own the car or somebody doesn't own the car with it, it's just harder to do because I film with this, first of all, usually, and we as a dealership don't access that system until you as a customer take the car. So we'll be doing that. So it says, time to convert Peter from Apple to Android phone. I used to switch back and forth. Our management team all uses Apple, so that's what I've got right now. All right, so we will be doing BlueLink and Apple and Eevee Intelligence system very soon. Two more topics really quickly. Advanced driver assistance systems. Advanced driver assistance systems are all of the things that can actively steer the car or actively brake the car. And I want to point out that I'm going to do more videos on those soon because you guys ask a lot about them. One thing I want to point out though is I've been coming across people have a perception of how these systems work. Lane keeping assist, lane follow assist, some of those things. The perception is sometimes based on other brands. Kia and Hyundai have what is generally regarded as some of the best systems out there. They work differently. I drove a Honda minivan, and the lane keeping assist, lane follow assist type system. When I came up to a lane marker, it shook the steering wheel. It was very disconcerting for me. It was not the way I like. Whereas ours just kind of nudged the steering wheel back in place. You almost don't have to, I mean, you do have to steer, you're responsible for the car, but you almost don't have to steer. It steers itself centered down the lane for you. So there's a lot of different systems, and I just want to point out that if you are familiar with any one of these systems, blind spot detection with avoidance, rear cross traffic alert, lane keep assist, lane follow assist, smart cruise control even, highway drive assist, all those kinds of things. If you're familiar with something from a different brand, it's probably slightly different in the Kia or the Hyundai lineup, and I'm a big fan of them, and we'll go over them more in the future. So just keep in mind, if you think you know the system, you probably don't know the Kia or Hyundai system as well. And does lane keeping work on local or only highway? Lane keeping assist has to be above 60 kilometers an hour. In Canada, 60 kilometers an hour. US would be whatever that equivalent is, probably 40, 45, 40-ish? I don't know, 40 miles an hour? I don't know. 60 kilometers an hour. Lane follow assist works at virtually any speed, so it's got a little more precision there. But that's a good question. Does it work anywhere? And it works all over the place. Highway drive assist, where it uses some of your navigation information to make some decisions, that may have to be on certain highways where it uses the navigation system. Otherwise, it's using just the camera system there. Okay, so one final thing. I'm going to talk a lot more in the coming year about cars being a lot like cell phones. Some of my regulars have heard me say this, but I just want to sort of flesh this out a tiny bit, and then we'll go back to your questions. If you had to share my cell phone with me, and I got messages I shouldn't put on the screen. If you had to share my cell phone with me, you would probably not be thrilled with your user experience, because you're going to use apps that are different than my apps. The settings in your apps may be different than my apps. They may be placed in places where you don't use. I may use certain apps more than you do. So a lot of our screens now, the center screens, they have the option for driver 1, driver 2, or guest, and you can rename them to your own name, your other driver's name. I do encourage you to use those and dig into the systems. And if you're not sure what you're doing, first of all, if you're going to buy an expensive car, a lot of these cars are $30,000 and $40,000 with these bigger screens. If you're going to buy an expensive car, you should take advantage of those safety features that are in that car. But you may have different preferences. You may want to be warned earlier or later. You may want some of the systems to actively brake the car, actively steer the car. Your co-driver may not want them to be as precise or more precise. There's a lot of settings in there, and this is a channel which will help you walk through those. We're going to do a lot of Kia Hyundai classes to walk through individual systems. But using that driver 1, driver 2 thing is going to set up your car, because what's going to happen is cars are going to come with 100 features, and 15, 20, maybe even 30 of them are going to really matter to you, whereas 5 or 10 might matter to your co-driver. So I want you to set up the car that works the way you want it to work out, and then when you switch drivers, set up for them, because then you're going to get the most enjoyment out of your car, best experience, and you're paying for a lot of these safety features, which sometimes the salesperson will turn off so they don't have to explain it, I guess. So I want to make sure that you have those safety systems on if you want them, you're aware of how they work, so you don't turn them off because of your perception of how they work. But also take advantage of those driver settings, driver 1, driver 2, because it'll help you get the most enjoyment out of those cars. All right, I've covered my details. What are we, 23-ish minutes in? My buddy Albert here says, keep smashing the like button. Do me a favor, guys, hit that like button. Let's see. I mean, we got a few already. So, I don't know, can we hit 60? We're at 44 or so. Maybe that's a good goal. So let me just go through it. It's going to be a little awkward here, guys, because I have to scroll through some of your comments here. I will do my best to answer it. If you've asked a question in the past, feel free to just ask it again if I don't get to it in the next second or two. Because I will scroll through. There are some comments in here, and I gotta skip through comments to make sure I read other stuff. I heard somewhere about a signal light recall in some older vehicles like the Sedona and Hyundai. Have you seen many of them come in? This is a brand new recall. Apparently on some older models, if you signal right, it might signal left. The computer gets confused. I don't think it's a huge issue. I haven't seen many. Obviously, everybody will receive the recall in those VIN numbers ranges. But it doesn't mean that every vehicle is affected. So I haven't read the recall myself. I'm not the expert on some of these recalls. One thing I appreciate about Kia Hyundai is sometimes they issue recalls, and sometimes they issue what they call service actions and service campaigns. They function like a recall, and that's a good thing. A lot of people are like, oh, my car had a recall, or my car had a service campaign. Some of these service action service campaigns are actually improvements to your car. They realize, hey, we want to make sure you have the best ownership experience. You come to your dealer, they do these improvements. Sometimes they're just software updates. And it's a good thing. So, okay. As a current 17 Kia Soul EV owner, I'm loving the EV6, but financial looking forward to the EV4. Okay, so cheaper models. Yeah, so Kia Hyundai has this eGMP platform. It's basically the electric platform, and it basically can be lengthened. So lengthened, it can be widened, it can be all-wheel drive or two-wheel drive, and it can fit a whole bunch of vehicles. So picture it kind of like being a skateboard that you pop the body on top. And if it's a wider car, it'll be wider. If it's a longer car, it'll be longer. The batteries will be in the bottom with the motors sort of into the thing. And actually the structure itself is part of the crash systems. So like the crumple zones and those kind of things. So a lot of that structure is part of the car. But because they have this system that can be widened and lengthened and more power, less power, and of course when you widen it, you're going to add extra batteries in that space. When you lengthen it, you can add extra batteries in that space. So the bigger vehicles will get bigger batteries, and the smaller vehicles, smaller batteries, smaller motors. There will be a line of cars coming out on this platform, and because it's so very adaptable, more so than even a gasoline platform, you're going to see a variety of cars coming out on this general platform in the next couple years, and it's going to be exciting. I can only confirm the ones they actually have coming out, which is the EV6 in Kia world, Ioniq 5 in Hyundai world. We all have seen reports of more vehicles, but those are the only two coming out so far. But that platform is highly adaptable, different body styles, different other things. So we will see more of that. Okay. Do they have any models with the frunk in it? I believe they do. Yeah. So yeah, they call them skateboard platforms, which is, I don't know if that's what we're calling ours, but it's the same idea. It's basically mount a body on a flat thing. There we go. Okay. Somebody's got okay, let me just go back to the top because I missed some questions up top. Again, if I missed your question, feel free to ask it again, like repeat it. Normally I say please don't repeat a ton of questions, but I want to get to them. We're about 27 minutes in. I'll stay on for you guys for a little while here if you have questions, because I want to make sure that we're answering some of these commonly asked questions here. So let me just see early on. Bear with me, guys. I'm just skimming. Sometimes when there's a lot of comments, a lot of questions, I have to skim through to find out if it's a comment or a question. Oh, is the Sorento SX PHEV for 2022 starting to ship? Yes. My understanding is all Sorento PHEVs have started to ship. This month, we are expecting to see the Santa Fe PHEV coming in later. I think we're like December, January. This is me guessing a little bit. December, January for the Tucson PHEV, at which point we're going to see the new Sportage be introduced, and it'll come in a hybrid and then later a PHEV as well. So a lot of plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. And you know what? The one thing I was going to say, who should buy a PHEV or an Eevee? Many of you know that I drive a full EV, but I also have a full gas car. I do think in my family situation, it was the right decision to go with a full EV and keep a regular gasoline car. Some of these PHEVs, the Sorento is a perfect example we just had the other day, the towing capacity is a little bit less. For me, I have a trailer. I want a certain amount of towing capacity just to be safe, to have some buffer zone with my trailer. So for me, I kind of get the overall mileage of a PHEV because 80% of our driving is probably done in our EV, and the rest of our driving, not necessarily in miles, but in time, trips. 80% of our trips are done on our EV, but we do a lot of trips in my family where we take our gasoline vehicle. Who should buy an EV and a PHEV? If you have two cars, you may want to consider a full EV instead of a PHEV. You do step down, you eliminate a certain level of maintenance, and you get a great level of efficiency. Now again, pricing costs, there's a whole bunch of things that may weigh into that decision. But I do think a lot of people are ready to go to an EV if you can switch vehicles. For my case, my wife and I can always switch vehicles. If she has to go on a really long trip and doesn't want to charge, which is another option, charging is very easy right now, we can switch vehicles for the day. And of course, I work locally and she works not too far away either. So consider an EV if you're considering a PHEV if you have a two-car family. Otherwise, make sure a longer range EV is a good idea for a full EV if you're going that way. But PHEVs, you've seen the mileage they get. It's kind of silly. All right. Okay, let me just go to the bottom here. Lots of questions. Okay, serious question for Peter. Why are a lot of these new SUV turn signals so low like on the Santa Fe and Kona? Styling. The designers like them. So let's just cover a couple things. Lights are here, and I don't know that they're always super low. Some other cars have them that low, but they put the lights down together. I will debunk anybody who says it's a safety issue. It's not. If somebody's tailgating you so close that they can't see your signal lights at speed, the problem is not where the lights are placed. The problem is that driver. But yeah, they like them there. It's not my favorite styling feature, to be very honest with you, but it's something that they do, and it's something that they like to do. And yeah. For someone living near the border like Michigan, etc., can they buy a Canadian variant and take it back to? Okay, this is probably one of the most often questions I get. If you are an American, you've obviously seen our videos, and I get a lot of phone calls saying, "Can you sell to us?" Essentially, both brands, the dealership agreement does not allow us to sell to an American resident. And if you're in the States, same thing. You can't sell to a Canadian resident unless they have like a vacation home in Florida. I think there's some things there. But essentially, no. I would love to find a way to help you in the States, but I don't have an affiliation with a dealer that I trust that is part of our dealer group. So you're on your own. But yeah, we cannot sell Canadian ones to the States. A lot of Americans like our feature content in Canada. We get a little bit better features, and in my mind, better features for the dollar sometimes. A lot of times Americans have a few more variants of features, but our high-end trims are very good value, but we can't do that. Okay. Okay, so let me just go on for where was something else? Okay. Somebody's saying, eventually I plan to trade up with kids to Sorrento Telluride. Need more room for my cell phones. Oh yeah, so we'll follow you through there. Okay. Peter, if you move further away from the dealer, would you ship it? Like even out of province? Sometimes we'll ship out of province. We do a lot of used cars out of province. We've sold a lot of Teslas out of province. We sell used Teslas regularly at Brantford Kia. There comes a point where it doesn't make sense for either us or you. The shipping cost alone, we're trying to give you a good deal. So that doesn't always work. Somebody says, so are you saying we need to annex Canada and that's because we can't ship? No, what I'm saying is if you like our videos, you need to move to Canada. A lot of us here will tell you it's a great place to live. So, excuse me guys. All right, if there's a question I missed, I don't see, I'm going through some comments and I don't see some questions in here. Yeah, some Subarus people have traded for various issues. That's cool. All right, I don't see a ton more. So, all right, so maybe that's enough. Maybe we leave it there. We hit 64 likes today. To the, what is it? To the how many percentage of people? So to the, oh, my internet's slow here for a second. All right, to the 32% of people that said I should do a car, we'll do that again tomorrow. But to the 68% of the people that said we should do this, every now and then I think we'll do something like this. Thanks for coming with me and hanging out with me in my home today. Like I said, just feeling a tiny bit under the weather. Wanted to make sure I keep my symptoms away from everybody at work. I'm gonna get some rest tonight. I'll be back to work tomorrow. So thanks for joining me in my kitchen dining room area. And yeah, we'll leave it there. So somebody just asked a question. They said, I'm gonna let you finish asking that question. I'm assuming you have more question and then I'll wrap this up. Oh, message retracted. Okay. So I think, what is the most popular Carnival trim with your dealership? I don't know. The SX Carnival, there's a bunch of questions coming in, so we're just gonna go through them quick. Most popular Carnival trim, I don't know, but the SX has sold way better than Kia Canada was expecting, so that's very popular. Higher trims have been more popular, but I think normally we used to sell the Sedona in mid to lower trims, competing with the Caravan. Now I think you're seeing us compete with Honda and Toyota in the higher level trims there. Does the EV6 have a heat pump? It does. Whether every trim does in Canada, we'll have to wait and see. We'll get we'll have information there as well. And I think that's it. So yeah. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. It's been fun. We got 70 likes, so I guess we should do this every now and then. Like I said, lots coming from us. If you want to subscribe to our channel, keep in mind, we're not just a review channel. We have a lot of stuff coming out in the next few months, so feel free to subscribe. If there's a question you have and you're not live with us, ask it in the comments below and we'll either do more videos like this or of course I'll answer as many comments as I can every single day. So thanks everybody for watching and yeah, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. It's been fun.